Hi there. Today we're going to talk about content marketing versus digital marketing. What do they both mean for your business and how you can use them to grow your brand online? Now let's start by a clear definition for digital marketing. So digital marketing is any sort of promotions or marketing activities done through online channels. And online channels include social media channels, email marketing, search engine optimization, website marketing, and many different channels. Now, content marketing, on the other hand, is a strategic digital marketing tactic focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content. So to make it a little bit simpler, digital marketing is an umbrella term covering multiple channels. Meanwhile, content marketing is a tactic that takes different formats or media and can be incorporated into many different digital marketing channels. And when considering the difference between digital marketing and content marketing, you need to understand that not all digital marketing is content marketing, but all content marketing is necessarily digital marketing. The purpose of content marketing as a tactic is to attract and retain a clearly defined audience and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. And so whenever you're creating a digital marketing strategy, you'll find yourself identifying multiple channels. So email marketing, SEO, or maybe social media marketing. And under every channel, you'll find that you need to use content. You need to create content for your website. You need to create content for your social media, and you need to create content for your emails. So to use any digital channel successfully, you need to incorporate great content first. Regardless of what type of digital marketing channel you're using, content marketing should be part of your process and not something separate. Now, quality content is part of all forms of digital marketing, like we said. So let's go through some of the channels where you will need to incorporate content. The first channel is social media marketing. Now, your content marketing strategy should come before your social media strategy. So before you start creating posts, before you start thinking of ideas or planning your content calendar, you should think about your overall content, your overall messages, and your overall goals and your overall vision of what you see yourself delivering to your audience as a brand when it comes to content. If you decide to use SEO, you'll find that search engines reward businesses that publish quality, consistent content. If you decide to use PR or digital PR, you'll know that successful PR strategies include creating press releases addressing issues that the readers or that the community care about. The same thing goes for PPC or pay-per-click ads. If you're creating an ad, then you need to create content for the copy, you need to create a strong visual, and this is still another content format. The last thing we can think of for today is email marketing. And again, to drive engagement from email marketing and to get people to click on that link or to engage with your email campaign, you need great content that drives clicks. And if you think about it, the question is, what is good content? Or how is content marketing different than, say, the promotional ads that you receive in the mail, the ones that you mostly ignore? So this is again some kind of content, but how is content marketing different than those types of ads or promotions? Now, if you go back to the definition of content marketing that we highlighted in the beginning of the video, you'll find that we stress on content being relevant and valuable. Now, this is mainly what differentiates content marketing from those unnecessary ads that you're faced with all the time. So in other words, companies send us information all the time, and it's just that most of the time it's not very relevant or valuable. You can even consider it as spam, and that's what makes content marketing so much more powerful. It is relevant and valuable. So you're not only creating something for the sake of creating it, you're creating something that will add value to your customers, something that they're interested in and they are willing to spend some time to read or watch or go through. And if your content loses that quality of being relevant and valuable, it becomes spam. So to ensure that your content is always relevant and valuable, there are 5 things that you need to consider whenever you're creating content. The first thing you need to consider is your audience. Now imagine you're trying to run a conversation with a complete stranger. What are you going to talk about? It's probably going to be small talk, like the weather, let's say. On the contrary, if you're talking to a friend, someone that you know so well, you'll never run out of conversations because you know so much about each other and there are so many different stories to talk about. The same thing goes with creating content. If you know your audience so well, you know their interests, their pain points, their daily habits, their values, and what matters in their lives the most, you'll find it easy to think of topics or ideas that you want to talk about or share with your audience. You'll also find it easy to know which tone of voice to use, what kind of language do they find relevant. Those are all things that you will only be able to identify when you know your audience so well. So this is the first exercise, is to know your audience well. The second factor you need to consider or know so well is your product. Now before we talk about the product, let's clarify that when you're creating valuable content, you're creating valuable content from the point of view of the customer. So you're trying to help your customers, and that's why your content shouldn't be focused on your products, its features, or what I call the me content, where brands continuously talk about themselves. They don't really offer any help or value to the customers. What the customers will call valuable content is something that helps them, is something that educates them or inspires them or maybe entertains them. So you are trying to create valuable content from the point of view of the customer. But on the other hand, you do have a commercial goal and you want those customers to eventually convert. So the only way to create that balance or find that balance where you're not talking about yourself or your products all the time, but at the same time you do have a commercial purpose in mind, is to know your product well. Understand what kind of problems it solves and what are the barriers to its purchase. When you find out where your product fits in the lives of your customers, you'll be able to relate your product to the topics that you talk about. You'll be able to create content that offers real help with a real good intention, and at the same time you can relate your product to that content. The third thing you need to consider when you're creating content is, of course, the message. So what do you want to tell your audience, and most importantly, what do you want them to do with that information? What sort of action are you expecting them to do? We usually have so many clients who create content, but they don't really have a vision of the customer journey or where that content fits in the customer journey. So in other words, there's no call to action. There's nothing that the customer is directed or guided towards. And now this is a problem because you can be creating great content and it's engaging, but it leads to nowhere. It doesn't add to the business. It doesn't add to the brand or your growth. So you need to focus on the message and the purpose of the content that you're creating. The fourth thing you need to consider is the content format. Now, there are many different content formats nowadays, and how to use each one to the best interest of your product and the audience is key to creating relevant and valuable content. Now, again, if you know your audience well and you know the topic that you're trying to talk about or create content about, you will be able to select whether you want to create a video, podcast, maybe an email would suit that purpose better or fit that purpose better. Maybe social media would be the best medium. And if you're on social media, should you create a reel, a story, an infographic? Identifying the format or the tool through which you're going to deliver your content is key in determining how relevant and how valuable it is to the audience. Now, the last factor you need to consider is content metrics. Now, content metrics are many, and every digital channel has its own metrics to measure measure how successful your marketing initiative or your content is. But the most important metric is, does your content change the perspective of the people have on your brand? Does it take them a step closer to you? Valuable and relevant content has a positive impact on your brand. It makes your audience perceive you as someone who's trying to help, as a thought leader, as someone that they go to. And going viral doesn't necessarily mean that people are positively impacted by your brand. In fact, many times we've seen it happen where a brand or an ad would go viral, but if you go through the comments, you'll find that people are complaining about the brand, or they're not really happy, or they don't find that piece of content changing their idea or their perspective of that brand. And if this is the case, if this has happened to you, then you need to stop and analyze how you can use content to change that perspective, to improve the experience that the people have with your brand. Now, this may require you to change more than just the content that you share. It may require you to change the way that you approach your customers, or the way that you deliver your service, or some aspects of your product or service. Now, it doesn't matter, but content is a great way to test waters or to find how your audience truly perceive you. Now, thank you very much for watching that video, and if you have any questions about content marketing or digital marketing, we'll be happy to help you with that. Just drop us a comment below and we'll get back to you.